Live from WRAL News Headquarters in Raleigh, your number one source for local news. WRAL News, coverage you can count on.
This afternoon, Durham City leaders will get an update on crime for the first half of the year. We'll break down how the stats compare to last year.
And look at this. Our dew point dropped all the way into the 40s. That's pretty exciting for us weather nerds. But this may be the bottom. I'll show you when we start to get more humid and hotter.
Parents can expect an update on Wake County student bus details today. We'll share the big changes, including a new system to notify families of any bus delays.
New this noon, a concerning crime report coming out of Durham. Good afternoon to you. I'm Jeff Hogan.
And I'm Renee Chu. Thanks for joining us. Durham City leaders will hear the second quarter crime report. It covers January through the end of June. WRAL's Monica Casey is live at Durham City Hall, where that meeting starts in less than an hour. And Monica, you've been digging into the details of this report.
Yes, and it shows this has been a violent first 6 months here in Durham. The number of people shot is up by about 43% over the first 6 months of last year, and fatal shootings are also up 16%. In addition to that increase in shootings, we see youth crime continues to be a problem in Durham and elsewhere. When looking back at the first 6 months of 2023, Durham police recorded 192 juvenile offenses. In the first 6 months of this year, there have been 289. That is an increase of about 50% in juvenile crime over last year. Durham's Mayor Leonardo Williams just announced an initiative to tackle that issue late last week. He's created the Bull City Future Fund, giving more resources to community groups and nonprofits that support young people. Now, it's important to note the data in this crime report goes through June 30th, so we looked at more recent shooting data as well. Since July 1st, there have been 81 more shootings and 22 more people shot, for a total year-to-date of 430 shootings and 150 people shot in Durham. Live in Durham, Monica Casey, WRAL News.
A newly released 911 call sheds light on what happened to a man who was found dead in a hot car. In a call made to 911, Rogers Ng is emotionally distraught and tells the dispatcher, quote, "It's my fault." Ng was the full-time caretaker for Dontarius Batts. He goes on to tell the dispatcher, "I didn't think it was that hot today. I didn't check on him. I forgot I was working." Ng took Batts to him to Cleveland High School, where he was working a second job as a janitor. Batts sat in the car with the windows up while Ng worked an 8-hour shift. A GoFundMe account set up to help Batts' family with funeral expenses included a picture of him. You can find it on WRAL.com.
This morning, our temperatures were close to record lows. They'll stay cooler than normal for the next couple of days. Elizabeth Gardner is on the WRAL weather patio with a look at when the lows and highs will start to feel like August again. But we sure like this feeling of fall, Elizabeth.
Ooh, take a look at this. We got to look at this muggy meter another time. So we're down to 49, and this whole several day trend of the cooler than normal and less humid than normal conditions, we haven't made it down into the 40s yet. So this is great. But we did probably bottom out this morning. We saw a low this morning of 55. That was only 2 degrees from our record low, 53, the record low at RDU. The gardens are looking gorgeous, feeling great. The temperature is 77, but the dew point at 79. I mean, just it doesn't get much better than that, especially this time of year. So we're 74 in South Hill, 75 Southern Pines and Goldsboro, 77 in Durham. And our 24-hour temperature change is actually a little bit warmer than yesterday. So here begins the warm up. It's not a big change, but it is 3 to 4 degrees warmer than what we saw this time yesterday. And notice what's going to happen with our muggy meter. It's as low as it's going to go right now. It creeps up a little bit for tomorrow, but by the time we get to Monday, we're about to hit steamy, and you can see the temperatures climbing too. 88 is our normal high, and by Sunday, we're back up to 88. So temperatures are going to gradually climb. Now, this is unusual to have temperatures this cool this time of year, but as we get into September, we tend to see more and more of this. So we'll talk more about when this becomes more normal coming up.
And happening right now in the WRAL Live Center, multiple former St. Augustine University faculty members are starting to receive paychecks that they're owed. We've learned that they've received one paycheck so far. They're owed these paychecks money dating back to March. Last week, the university announced it secured a $7 million loan from a Durham-based capital venture firm. WRAL has reached out to the university to find out when faculty and staff will receive the rest of the money that is owed to them, and if students are also receiving money for their reimbursement checks. The university did delay the start of the school year until September 3rd.
Another arrest has been linked to the convicted murderer who escaped Orange County last week. This is a second person now taken into custody in this investigation. WRAL's Ken Smith joins us with the new information about this latest arrest. Ken.
Yeah, Jeff, this is Ramon Alston's older sister, Monique Brady. She's suspected of helping him escape. Brady's facing charges of aiding and abetting a fugitive and harboring an escapee. We should get some insight today when Brady appears in court on how investigators believe she helped her brother escape. We're looking at video now of him being taken into custody at a hotel outside Charlotte after 3 days on the run. Now, during Brady's court appearance, we're also hoping to get some idea of a timeline from when Alston escaped to when he ended up hiding out with Brady and how long he was with her. Other questions we have include, when did she find out about the escape? Did she help him plan it from the beginning? And what other ways did she help him? Of course, we'll be in the courtroom to try to get some of these answers. She is the second person charged with helping Alston in his escape last week. Another accused accomplice, Jacobia Crisp, already had her court appearance. She is due back in court next month. Well, Brady will be in the Orange County courtroom facing a judge at 2 this afternoon. Again, we will be there. Look for new reporting on this story online at WRAL.com and, of course, in our evening news starting at 4.
Friends and family of a mother and her 6-year-old girl who died in a shooting earlier this month will gather to remember them tonight. A balloon release is planned to honor Kira Massenberg and her daughter, Zoe Jones. It's happening at 6 tonight in Rocky Mount at Mo and Dee's restaurant on South Church Street. They were both victims of a shooting in Wilson County back on August 11th. Investigators say the man who shot them, Daquan Jones, was Kira's boyfriend and Zoe's father. He later died by suicide.
Hundreds of people gathered at Fort Liberty this morning to welcome the return of 200 soldiers after a 9-month deployment. The 82nd Airborne Division trained alongside NATO partners while increasing security forces in Eastern Europe. During the ceremony, friends and family got to experience the encasing of the division's colors. Soldiers describe an emotional reunion as they reconnected with their loved ones several weeks ago.
It was undescribable. It was just nice to see them. Being away for so long, like I said, can be a little daunting, but reuniting, it always makes the heart grow fonder. So I'm just proud to be back. I'm proud to be a part of the 82nd, and I'm very thankful for that opportunity to experience that.
The work doesn't stop now that the 82nd Airborne is back. The division will be the first in line, if needed, for another deployment come October.
And back here in the Live Center, some sad news to report. Felicia Daniel, the owner of Chef's Delight, has passed away. So many people knew and loved her. The State Fair, the North Carolina State Fair, posted this to their Instagram page, writing, "She dazzled us with her unique and delicious sweet and savory creations each year. She was a warm and welcoming presence who many got to know over the years. She will be missed."
Covering Wake County, parents will get an update today about how Wake County Public Schools will ensure bus routes run smoothly when traditional calendar schools start Tuesday. WRAL's Kelsey Coffey walks us through what parents can expect this school year.
All of these buses will be headed out of here in less than a week for the first day of school. And this afternoon, we'll get a breakdown of what you need to know before you send your student on the bus. There will be a big change this school year. Parents will be able to use a new bus delay notification system. Now parents can receive emails or texts if their child's bus is running late. Today, we're expecting to hear an update about staffing. The district says every route will be covered this year, but WRAL Education Insider Emily Walkenhorst says the district could still use some more drivers.
Being fully staffed is only part of the equation. Inevitably, some people are going to call out sick. And so we know that they're actually kind of short on having some of those extra drivers.
The district is offering more bonuses for drivers as a recruitment tool. And this year, they've decided to have fewer routes to make sure that there will be a driver for each one. Kelsey Coffey, WRAL News in Raleigh.
Statewide, school bus drivers are being trained and certified before the traditional school year starts. The state DMV recently purchased 3 brand new school buses to be used for training at school systems across the state. The money for the buses came from a grant that also pays for the extensive training bus drivers require. Last year, more than 3,700 bus drivers were trained and certified, and a little more than 6,000 others were recertified.
Next at noon, it's history in the making tonight at the Democratic National Convention. Up next, we preview the final night of the event as Vice President Kamala Harris officially accepts her party's nomination for president.
Also, a shift in dating culture, how Gen Zers are ditching the dating apps and making connections offline.
Plus, visitors spent a record amount of money in Wake County last year. At 12:30, we break down the dollars and compare them to pre-pandemic levels.
Keep watching WRAL News over the air Channel 34 and Spectrum Channel 1257.
History in the making tonight as Vice President Kamala Harris is set to accept the Democratic nomination for president.
Harris's big night comes after Minnesota Governor Tim Walz accepted the party's nomination for vice president and introduced himself to the nation. NBC's Alice Barr is at the United Center with a look ahead to tonight's conclusion of the Democratic National Convention.
Hi there. We are counting down to the main event when Vice President Kamala Harris will take the stage to formally accept her party's history-making nomination for president. Sources are telling NBC News that in her speech, she's going to try to go through her personal and professional story to present a contrast with former President Trump and then to lean into what they're describing as a deep and abiding sense of patriotism. That all follows her running mate, Minnesota Governor Tim Walz, doing the same, kind of introducing himself to the nation. He talked a lot about his personal story, having been a teacher and high school football coach. There were some of his former athletes that were actually here in the United Center, and he gave what amounted to a locker room pep talk. He talked about being down by a field goal, but going on offense and having the right team to carry this over the finish line in these final weeks and months before the election. He also spoke about, his growing up in a small town in Nebraska and how that taught him to take care of each other, but also to mind your own business. And that really fed into what he was setting up as his definition of freedom. He talked about reaching across the aisle when he was in Congress. He's someone who was chosen certainly in an attempt to appeal to those small town, working class, white, rural Americans that this ticket is going to need. And he talked about knowing when to reach across the aisle and compromise, but not compromising his values. He did not shy away from the series of progressive policies that he signed now that he is governor of Minnesota, and talked about not banning books, but banishing hunger from classrooms. He talked about protecting reproductive freedom, and again, that all went into his conception of what freedom is. So that was the big moment from last night. But again, it's all leading up to tonight when Vice President Kamala Harris will take the stage and make that last push on the final night of the Democratic National Convention. From the United Center in Chicago, I'm Alice Barr, NBC News.
Tonight's theme is For Our Future. Several Democratic politicians are expected to make remarks, including Governor Roy Cooper.
The nation's first National Youth Poet Laureate recited a new poem at the Democratic National Convention, one that focused on themes of democracy and unity.
We are one family, regardless of religion, class, or color. For what defines a patriot is not just our love of liberty, but our love for one another.
Amanda Gorman's new work is titled This Sacred Scene. The Harvard graduate burst onto the scene in 2021 when First Lady Jill Biden invited her to recite a poem at President Joe Biden's inauguration. Gorman's poem then, The Hill We Climb, and its message of unity in the immediate aftermath of the January 6th Capitol riots resonated with millions of Americans.
Former President Donald Trump will be on the campaign trail in Arizona tomorrow. He will hold a rally in Glendale. Trump visited North Carolina for the second time in a week yesterday, and the first time in the state alongside his running mate, J.D. Vance. The rally in Asheboro was their first major outdoor rally since the assassination attempt in July. Security was visibly increased with snipers on rooftops and bulletproof glass around the podium. During his speech, Trump responded to criticism from speakers at the Democratic National Convention. He said that a Kamala Harris presidency would lead to World War III.
All things being considered, being outside yesterday or today is probably a good choice. It's beautiful.
Yeah, make plans outdoors, have lunch outdoors, maybe grill outside. Meteorologist Elizabeth Gardner on the WRAL weather patio with some ideas as well.
The breeze just kicked up a second ago. It just feels so great. It's just been so wonderful to have this little break from the heat. You know, it gets to be such a long, hot summer around here. And it really it feels so nice. The hardest part is going to be the fact that now we're going to have to go back to like real summer weather by early next week. It is 77 right now. That dew point at 49 is just phenomenal. It's just something that we hardly ever see this time of year. We'll climb to 82. Now, yesterday's high was in the upper 70s. So each day now going forward through the weekend, we're going to see, you know, a couple of degrees warmer, maybe a little bit more humid. It'll be a gradual increase in that heat and humidity. But 82 today in Raleigh, 81 in Durham, and 84 in Fayetteville. It is just so pretty out here in the gardens right now. We talked about this yesterday. I mean, while it's still feeling this pleasant, you may want to pull that grill out. You know, it's been just really too hot for that for much of the summer. But temperatures, when you get home, it's going to be, you know, 78, 80 degrees, nice low humidity. Be really nice. Our normal high now is 88, so that's down from our hottest normal high at RDU is 90. So we're starting to see, you know, the normal high temperatures falling off a little bit, but that doesn't mean that, you know, we're going to stay right there at the normal. You know, we're looking at 82 today, 83 Friday, 85 Saturday, 88 Sunday, and then 91 on Monday. So we're going to just kind of move right past that normal high, but it is still August. 69 is the normal low. We hit 55 this morning. It was great. We'll hit 59 tomorrow morning, and then 70 by Tuesday morning. 70 is what it feels like in the middle of the summer, where it's just kind of oppressive. You open the door in the morning and you're like, ooh, it still feels warm out here. And we're going to get back to that early next week. But for now, you can see the blue shaded area. That's where our temperatures are below normal. Notice the reds, though, around Texas and up toward Denver, and that's where the temperatures are above normal. We're going to see a high pressure system switching our wind direction to southwesterly. That's going to start to pump up some tropical moisture, and it looks like it's going to stick around for a while. Of course, today feels fantastically refreshing. Tomorrow's going to feel great. Saturday, not bad. We're going to move just past comfy, but then by Monday, we're getting back up towards steamy. And it looks like that could last all the way into maybe the first week of September, past the Labor Day holiday. If you're looking for something fun to do this weekend, still going to be feeling good out there. Pack-A-Palooza will be there on Hillsborough Street. It's a big NC State celebration, but it's meant for the whole community. It's not just for the college kids. Great music, starts at 2 o'clock. Ends at 10 p.m. And we also have the Carry Lazy Days. We're going to talk about the forecast for Lazy Days hour by hour coming up in just a little while. You know, I almost today wanted to just save the 7-day forecast for the very end, but there it is. 91 Monday, 92 Tuesday, 93 on Wednesday. And we also get back to, along with that humidity, a chance of a few afternoon and evening thunderstorms. So we'll talk a little bit more about the tropics. It is the peak of the hurricane season. I'll talk about what's happening out there coming up.
Elizabeth, thanks. NC State is trying to get more people interested in protecting the food you eat. This week, they launched a new course focused on health inspections. Today at 4, 5 on Your Side explains why this program is so unique and how you can sign up to be a part of it.
And then tonight at 6, WRAL investigates school bus safety after years of mechanical issues, including fires. What's being done this year to prevent a disaster? Plus, still ahead this noon, fed up with TSA's rules on liquids? You're not alone. Change is on the way. It might take a while, though. Also,
it just feels like people are tired of the screens and they want something different.
Ahead, why singles are kissing dating apps goodbye.
Gen Z is the first generation to be connected to technology since birth. Their screens are a part of everyday life. Now they're putting the tech down and trying to meet matches offline. Anna Eliopoulos has this shift in the dating culture.
Tinder is probably the worst thing ever created.
And he might not be alone in his thinking. Younger generations are dumping the dating apps, instead opting to meet people IRL, in real life.
Single party, I'm out here.
For America's younger generations, dating apps have always been the norm. But recent data by Eventbrite shows that over the last year, more and more younger singles are logging off for love, shifting to meeting a mate in person. Two main reasons: a feeling that app algorithms aren't doing a good job matching them, and overall dating fatigue.
It just feels like people are tired of the screens and they want something different.
Aware of the challenges singles face dating online, Maxine Williams pounced on this trend, creating We Meet IRL, which has been rebranding speed dating over the last 2 years, helping singles 25 to 35 to stop messaging and start talking face to face.
I personally just don't think we were ever meant to connect romantically through a screen. When it comes to attraction, it's kind of like all the five senses have to be there. Like, you want to smell someone's perfume or cologne. You want to hear how they laugh. You want to see how they walk and talk. And those things you don't really get from a dating app.
The data also shows 45% of Gen Z and 35% of millennials say it's difficult to use an app to find a match who shares their interests. And almost half believe meeting in real life is safer.
That was Anna Eliopoulos reporting. And another company offers monthly mixers for singles called the Chaotic Singles Party. She says the party serves as an icebreaker of sorts.
The Transportation Security Administration is preparing to roll back rules about liquids on carry-ons, but change is coming slower than expected. The TSA is bringing in about 2,200 new scanners to detect dangerous liquids. So far, less than half of the machines have been sent to airports. The rest should be in place by 2042. Until then, the agency's 311 rule will remain in effect. That means no more than 3.4 ounces of liquids, gels, and aerosols in a quart-sized bag per person. Chick-fil-A may soon be challenging Netflix and Disney+. The fast food chain is reportedly working with production companies and studios to create original shows for a streaming platform that could debut later this year. Chick-fil-A is initially focusing on family-friendly, unscripted content, including a game show. The service could also feature scripted series, animation, and content that's either licensed or bought from other entertainment outlets.
Raleigh welcomed a record number of visitors last year, surpassing the pre-pandemic record set in 2019. We'll break down how all that revenue will be used in Wake County.
Plus, specialized divers have now recovered 5 bodies from the waters off the coast of Sicily. Now investigators are trying to figure out how the super yacht sank so quickly. Here's a look at the winning lottery numbers. Don't go away. We'll be right back.
Shot in 4K ultra high definition. Your number one source for local news. WRAL News. Coverage you can count on.
Covering Wake County, new numbers show people who came to visit spent a record amount of money in 2023. WRAL's Noah Klein is here now with a look at the numbers, which are also back up above pre-pandemic levels.
Renee, great news here, and I want to give you a live look over downtown Raleigh, a beautiful skyline today. And it continues to play a role in this growth, bringing new events and more visitors each year. Let's get to the big number here. $3.2 billion spent. You see the peak there. That's a new record, and it meant 18.5 million people came in, also a record. That spending is also back up above pre-pandemic levels. You see the V here in the drop in 2020 and then 2019. The last time we were up there, we saw $2.9 billion. And a lot of that money, it comes back into the community, including the $307 million in tax revenue visitors spent. Visit Raleigh, they provided all these numbers, and they say that money will go toward education, school construction, and some other projects. The organization says it's the variety of things that the county has to offer that makes it stand out.
people have absolutely discovered Raleigh and Wake County. It's we find that a lot of people are coming in for concerts, sporting events, meetings and conventions, youth amateur competitions. So I think that's why we are positioned so well.
The organization says this added tax revenue saves each home in Wake County around $700 each year.
Specialized divers continue to search for a woman still missing after a super yacht sunk off the coast of Sicily. The bodies of 5 others have been recovered. Madison Scarpino reports many in the boating world are in shock. A vessel like this could disappear in a storm so quickly.
The Italian Coast Guard says it has recovered the body of British tech entrepreneur Mike Lynch from the wreckage of the super yacht that sank off the coast of Sicily. A survivor arrived at the port Thursday, hugging others as rescue workers loaded a body into an ambulance. The super yacht, carrying 22 passengers and crew, disappeared beneath the waves in a matter of minutes when violent weather struck Monday. 15 people managed to get to safety on a rescue boat. Special rescuers resumed search operations Thursday, facing tough conditions.
What they're required to do is to go inside and pick their way meticulously through the structure of a newly sunk ship. Now, when a vessel sinks, everything's going to be where it shouldn't be. That's going to reduce visibility.
Questions remain as to how the super yacht sunk so quickly, while a nearby boat that rescued survivors escaped the storm unscathed. The yacht manufacturer describes the design of the luxury boat.
It is well known that the sailing boat is the safest in the most absolute sense. First of all, because they have very little surface compared to a yacht facing into the wind. Second, with the structure, the drift kill, they become unsinkable bodies.
That was Madison Scarpino reporting. Lynch's wife is among the survivors. She owns the yacht. The voyage was supposed to be a celebration of the British tech magnate's recent acquittal of fraud charges.
People who work and live in downtown Raleigh are rattled after a man says someone shot at him near the Raleigh Convention Center. Police say it was an isolated incident. Officers responded to Fayetteville Street just after 5 yesterday morning, and they spoke with a man who said someone fired shots at him. He suffered a minor injury, but police say he was not shot. The heavy police presence left people who live nearby worried.
It's just alarming, yeah, and then not to really know like what happened or like if there was even a reason behind it. It's kind of just scary.
Police say they have not made an arrest. They're asking nearby businesses for surveillance video.
In about 30 minutes at the top of the hour, Durham City leaders will get an update on crime data from the first half of 2024. The report shows violent crime, including homicide and rape, is up about 4% from the same time frame last year. Property crime, including burglary and theft, is up more than 5%. Police Chief Patrice Andrews will deliver more details from the report to City Council during their work session today. It starts at 1 o'clock. Local chip maker Wolfspeed says it will close its Durham plant. The news came out in the company's quarterly earnings report. Wolfspeed plans to speed up the timeline for building its 200-millimeter chip factory in New York. The company says the New York-based plant is producing results at significantly lower costs than the Durham location. Wolfspeed CEO Greg Lowe said the company will remain based in Durham. The company says more details about the closure will be announced in November.
A new traffic shift on I-440 East is now in place. Traffic from I-440 East and Western Boulevard will now be filtered down a collector lane to get to ramps for Hillsborough Street or Wade Avenue, or to continue on the Beltline. It's similar to what you've experienced driving on southbound US 1 to Walnut Street in Cary. It's all part of this ongoing project to widen the Beltline. Some kids get really anxious about going back to school, how you can spot the signs and help ease their anxiety.
And a concern about high levels of fluoride in drinking water. What a study reveals about its effect on children's brain development.
Get the news that matters to you by customizing your news feed on the WRAL News app. Create an account, search topics, add them to your feed, and save. The new school year can be downright scary for some students. Some children may have difficulty telling you that they feel anxious. So parents, you need to be proactive and look for signs in their behavior. If your child is constantly obsessing over what to wear for the first day or what kind of school supplies to get, it may be a good time to sit down with them and ask them if something is on their mind. Once school starts, if your child is coming up with excuses to avoid school, it may be time to speak with their teacher, guidance counselor, or a mental health professional. A newly released government report finds a link between lower IQ in children when fluoride in drinking water is double the recommended limit. However, the report did not say how many points may be lost due to higher levels. The World Health Organization sets the limit for fluoride in drinking water for it to be considered safe to consume. The report reveals some Americans are on water systems with fluoride levels above that safe limit.
Americans with well-treated HIV cannot be banned from joining the military. It broadly bars the military from preventing anyone with HIV from enlisting. But a federal judge said HIV-positive people with undetectable viral loads can perform any military duty like anyone else. The CDC says undetectable people cannot transmit the virus. The Defense Department argues providing medicine to keep those viral loads undetectable would cost the military too much. A new study found the symptoms of long COVID can be different in kids. The National Institutes of Health paid for the study. Caregivers of more than 3,000 children were asked about their kids' symptoms at least 90 days after COVID. Researchers found among children ages 6 to 11, the most common symptoms were headaches, trouble with memory, and stomach pain. Adults more often dealt with fatigue, dizziness, brain fog, and loss of taste and smell.
Coming up at noon, a man uses the emergency exit to disembark a plane after landing. What he did next that caused a disruption on the tarmac.
And one of the Minneapolis police officers charged in the 2020 death of George Floyd is out of prison, but his sentence is not entirely complete. Live look right now, beautiful Beaufort this noon hour, getting just as much the same delightful low humidity and temperatures as we are getting right here as you watch WRAL News, available on Spectrum and the WRAL app on your TV or streaming device.
Police in Australia are investigating a bizarre incident that took place today at Melbourne Airport. A man opened an emergency exit to leave a plane minutes after landing. The passenger walked onto the plane's wing, then climbed down a jet engine to reach the tarmac. He was detained by airport staff until police got there. The man was checked out by paramedics before being taken to a hospital. Charges are pending. First responders are on the scene of an incident at an excavation site. This is helicopter video from an affiliate in Sterling, Massachusetts for what officials call an active incident. It appears to show fallen rocks at the site that may have come down on top of an excavator. It's unclear if there are any injuries. We'll continue to monitor this for updates.
A 17-year-old has pleaded not guilty to 8 charges of planning a terror attack in Las Vegas. That 17-year-old was allegedly collecting materials to build an explosive device and researching the floor plan of his high school. The indictment also states he intended to provide material support to the Islamic State, ISIS. The defendant posted in an online chat room that he would be starting lone wolf operations in Las Vegas. One of the Minneapolis police officers who was convicted in the death of George Floyd is now a free man again. Thomas Lane was released from federal prison in Colorado earlier this week. He was serving a 3-year sentence for aiding and abetting manslaughter. He held down Floyd's legs during the arrest in 2020 that led to Floyd's death. The Federal Bureau of Prisons says Lane will be under supervision for the next 2 years.
An Orange County man was cited for showing a weapon in a road rage incident outside the Trump rally in Asheboro yesterday. 79-year-old Robert Castona of Hillsborough was cited. It happened after the rally ended as the crowd headed to their cars. Police say the man showed a weapon from inside his car. No one was hurt. It is day 4 and the final day of the Democratic National Convention in Chicago. Vice President Kamala Harris will close it out by formally accepting the party's presidential nomination. Tonight's theme is called For Our Future. It will highlight how the Harris-Walz ticket plans to lead the nation forward. Though Harris has been vice president for more than 3 years, advisors believe Americans are unaware of large parts of her life story.
Director Ava DuVernay has been spotted in and around the United Center this week, and details are scarce, but a person close to the matter says DuVernay is directing something related to the event. Whatever she's working on will not be shown as part of the convention's programming. DuVernay endorsed Kamala Harris immediately after President Joe Biden stepped aside. Pop star, rock star Pink, who hails from Doylestown, Pennsylvania, will close out the night. Whatever she performs is sure to be high energy, just as the lively tribute to Prince last night. Stevie Wonder, Patti LaBelle, Little John, and Common have all played live at the convention in Chicago. John Legend there.
Yeah, it's been quite the playlist at the DNC.
It really has. Closing out with some flair tonight. Yeah. So they'll be indoors. We want to get outside today. Elizabeth Gardner on the WRAL severe weather patio right now with a look at that sunshine hanging in there for us. Good.
Oh, man, it's just, I'm running out of adjectives for how amazing it is outside and how happy I am to be out here. It's just, so great. Live look at the gardens behind me. We do have somebody out there eating their lunch back there, enjoying it. It feels especially nice in the shade. It feels comfortable, though, even in the sunshine. Here's a look at the big picture. We have a lingering front that's stationary, that's sitting offshore. There's a lot of moisture associated with that, a lot of humidity with that. We have a high-pressure system that you can see kind of dropping into the Ohio Valley right now. High-pressure systems rotate clockwise, and in that position, that high is still funneling in this nice, cool, dry air. But as that high starts to move farther to the east, we're going to get into what we call the backflow of that high, and that's going to start to turn our wind to southwesterly. We're going to start to tap into some of that hot, humid air that, is still just to our south. So that is definitely coming our way, and that will gradually change as we get through the weekend. We take a look at that change, of course, and you can see, again, those blue shaded areas, that's where we're getting that nice, cool flow. But that high pressure system on the backside of it has got a lot of warmth, and that's going to be headed our way. But this afternoon, feeling good. 81 in Roxborough and South Hill, 82 in Rocky Mount, 82 in Southern Pines, 84 in Fayetteville. Normal highs 88, so we'll take it, especially with this nice low humidity. And another really pleasant night tonight, is open the windows weather with our temperatures in the 50s to low 60s, looking at 60 in Fayetteville, but 59 in Goldsboro, 58 in Durham, 56 in South Hill. That is about 10 degrees below our normal low for this time of year. 83 for tomorrow, 85 Saturday, 88 Sunday. So you can see, just gradually, we're going to pump it up. One thing that you'll notice tomorrow, we will have more cloud cover tomorrow. We're not likely to see any rain, but it'll be a little cloudier than it is right now, where it's just completely clear. First football Friday of the season. Can you believe that? My goodness. And it'll be really nice still tomorrow. 80 degrees at around 6 o'clock, 74 at around 8 p.m., and then dropping into the 60s. So if you are headed out to a football game tomorrow, you might want to take just a light layer with you. It could easily be pretty cool by the time those games are over. And then Lazy Days Festival in Cary, Saturday and Sunday. Technically, Saturday might feel slightly more comfortable than Sunday. We'll see high temperature in the mid 80s with a slightly lower humidity on Saturday. Sunday, highs will be in the upper 80s during the afternoon. It might be just a smidgen more humid, but we're probably not going to see a big difference there. Now, by Monday and Tuesday, we jump back into that heat and humidity, and we're going to see above normal temperatures likely all the way through that first week of September, so past the holiday. The one thing about it, if we're going to warm up for the holiday, Labor Day holiday, people think about going to the beach, the lake, the pool. It'll be hot again for that. Checking the tropics. In the next 7 days, we're not expecting any development, but we are in the peak of the hurricane season all the way till October 10th, and during this period of about a month and a half or so is when we tend to see 70% of the major hurricanes. We're thankful that there's nothing out there right now, but this is usually a fairly active period, so we'll be watching that real closely. Checking that 7-day forecast, again, feeling pretty good. Just a gradual increase in heat and humidity over the weekend, and then it is on again with 90s Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday.
Now, this brings new meaning to the term rock, how a diamond corporation was able to detect this massive gem.
Winning Powerball numbers on your screen: 27, 31, 33, 38, 67. The Powerball is 3. The multiplier is 2.
As we wrap things up, here's a look at a few of the headlines we're following today.
A woman arrested for helping a convicted murderer escape custody is in court this afternoon. Ramon Alston's sister, Monique Brady, is charged with aiding and abetting a fugitive. Alston managed to escape custody when he was taken to Hillsborough for a medical appointment. He was recaptured and resumed his life sentence for the murder of a 1-year-old girl.
200 soldiers with the 82nd Airborne Division were welcomed home this morning. WRAL was there as they reunited with family members at Fort Liberty. The soldiers spent 8 months alongside NATO partners while increasing security forces in Eastern Europe. The division will be the first in line, if needed, for another deployment come October.
Several former faculty members tell WRAL they are starting to get paychecks from St. Augustine's University. Before today, faculty and staff were owed money dating back to March. This comes less than a week after the university announced it secured an initial $7 million loan from a Durham-based capital venture firm.
One of the world's largest rough diamonds has been unearthed from a mine in southern Africa. Lucara Diamond Corporation says it's recovered a nearly 2,500 carat diamond from a mine in Botswana. The company used mega diamond recovery X-ray transmission technology to detect the massive gem. 2 other gigantic finds there include a 1,700 carat and an 1,100 carat raw diamonds.
Rock right there.
To pay for that diamond, you might need to play the lottery. The Mega Millions jackpot has now reached $500 million. No tickets match the winning numbers drawn Tuesday, so the jackpot now sits at $527 million. The cash out option would be nearly $262 million. You can watch the next drawing tomorrow night at 11 on WRAL.
We want to take a moment right now to introduce you to one of our partners in this year's Clear the Shelters campaign. Safe Haven for Cats is continuing its mission to save lives through rescue, adoption, and community education. Visit their shelter during Clear the Shelters to meet their adoptable cats and contribute to their vision of a world without euthanasia. For more information on adoption or to support their efforts, you can check out their website or stop by their shelter. Our pet of the day was rescued from a commercial breeder and flown to North Carolina. Hence her name. This is Amelia. She's about 6 years old, weighs 17 pounds. Amelia has never known a normal life. Car rides, playing outside, and cuddles on the sofa are all completely foreign to her. She is looking for a patient family who will help her transition to her new reality at her own pace with all the love and compassion she deserves. For more information about Amelia, please visit spcawake.org.
I like her fur color. She has caramel highlights.
Cute little Amelia, and she's got a new life ahead of her after her flight.
Well, we're so glad you spent some time with us during this lunch hour. Now it's time to go outside and enjoy the weather.
Certainly enjoy it. It's there waiting for you. NBC News Daily is also on deck. Next on WRAL, your next local news update in 30 minutes.
You can get breaking news updates anytime with our WRAL News app. Have a great day.